But every time I look back, I see blood on my pants cuffs. And I realize that it's not there because of me. It's there because the other ones that died, that was wounded. And every time that I reach back to say thanks, that some of this blood comes off my pants cuff. It's like an old expression that I've been hearing since I was a little boy. Negroes is like a bunch of crabs in a pot of hot water. Once one get to the top, the others pull it down. So that's not the crabs, that's the hot water. Okay?
Yeah.
Now hear me good now. If you out on a beach and see crabs that's not in hot water, they ain't jerking on one another. So my behavior, as much as some black folks detest it, is because of the hot water. And I kind of taught my children that black folks let this pot stay on the stove so long that it's so hot now you can't take it off. So all this movement's doing is turning the temperature down and turning the temperature down. And the temperature has been turned way down since the 60s, but the pot is still hot. But there's going to come a day we will lift that pot out, and all the crabs that hung on will be liberated, and for the first time they will be able to act like normal crabs. And so consequently, now with this consciousness and now seeing the movement, all my life I wanted to be a cowboy. I wanted to be John Wayne. If you wrong and I'm right, John Wayne said, go get your gun and kill him. And I felt that way. And I had me a gun. I mean, a 357 mag. So when King said, let's come down south, I didn't go down as nonviolent. I went down. And when I saw that big 6'3", blonde head nigger hating sheriff, you didn't have to tell me don't hit him. I wasn't about to hit him, And my pleasure was I didn't have to stay 24 hours a day like they did.
But you did.
I went in, then I came out, and then I went back and I came out, and I wasn't under that pressure 24 hours a day. What I did see when I was there, fear, me. The same reason I never wanted to date a white woman because of what them stories. I had also heard them horror stories about Mississippi, and they would kill you. And was nothing you could do about it. And I look back now and say, thank God I went anyway. But when I made the first decision to go, I said, Leo, you probably won't see me no more. And but it would be the same thing if I went up on that hill to take it back. And then, Leo went down, and she went to jail. And it was kind of interesting. Bobby Kennedy said to me one day, no, the sheriff said to me, I arrested a lot of nigger bitches and I arrested a lot of poor white hoes, but your wife was the first lady I ever arrested. So I didn't come down here, have some old redneck cracker like you validate my wife.
Gee, yes.
And so he said, well, let me tell you why I'm saying this, Mr. Gregory. He said, Bobby Kennedy looked at your wife like she was something special because she was Miss Gregory. And they would go in every day and ask her what did she want. And she said a 7-Up with 7 cups because she shared it with the other women that not got arrested with her, but was inmates in the cell with her. And he said, I've never seen this type of attitude before. And it was something very interesting he did for me. I said, well, how much do nigger bitches go for? I'm talking about the bail. He said $2,000 cash. And so I had $1,000 cash and some checks. So he told me to go across the street, City Hall, the jail, across the street was the Black Elks Club. Now, I didn't know back then the Elks Club was bootlegging whiskey for the sheriff. That's why they had him cross the street where they could watch him. And so when I went over there, and said, tell the boys that Sheriff Clark told you. So I went over, and I didn't realize that was his money. To this day, that check has never come through. He was asking me to go over and get $1,000 of his money to put up.
Ah.
But in the South, I went down, and the first time there was about 600 cops at the airport waiting for me. It was the first time I really felt like John Wayne. I felt big. I felt big as God. I felt all of these people that I'm scared of, been scared of all my life. They so frightened of me. And that's when I understood the power of what I was messing with. And I know now that I can say to you that never before in the history of this planet have anyone ever made the progress that African Americans have made in a 30-year period, in spite of many black folks and white folks in a state of denial and lying to one another. But one day, someone's going to sit with a camera like this, might be 1,000 years from now, 10,000, no hidden agenda. And the only reason America will get her name mentioned was because they'll have to mention where this movement came from.
Mm-hmm.
But now we look at this movement, and a Nelson Mandela, who was framed and went to jail for 27 years, but when he was framed, he was part of an armed struggle.
Yes.
And the only thing changed in 27 years was our movement slipped under his door. Because had he came out and went back to arms, he would be dead now, and South Africa would still be ruled by whites.
Yes.
He came out, hugged the jailer, had a smile on his face so big that you thought the sun was illuminating from inside of him, and there was no bloodbath. That can be traced back to our movement. When the Chinese sit down in front of the tanks in Tiananmen Square, which America loves to talk about, we taught them that. Nobody in the history of the planet ever sat down in front of a tank without a weapon before we did. And when Bosnia was going to go up in flames, when that thug lost the election and he said he wasn't going to step down at 12 noon on Saturday, and the whole world press went there to tell the world about this bloodbath, and at 12 noon, 250,000 people came to the town square with no guns singing, "We shall overcome."
That's right.
And the army threw down their guns and joined them. That traces back to this movement.
Absolutely.
And that's what I'm part of. And there's nothing that I ever done in life that I deserved to be introduced to this. Now, I worked after I got there. I worked to transform myself from just an ordinary entertainer or comic to one of the critical social minds on this planet. Mark Lane and myself, we did the book called Codename Zorro, which
Yes.
forced this government into having the Kennedy King assassination
The
investigation.
conspiracy.
Yes.
That's what
And
you're
so,
referring to.
and so I look back today and say, you know, am I happy? More than happy. Would I do it over again? No, I don't think one person deserved this grand feeling more than once. But no, I'm happy. Leo's happy. The children are happy.
And it seems to be a mutual respect amongst your children and yourself and your wife,
Yes.
which is so important, I think, for the work that all of you have done.
Yes, but I mean, you know, that's all they knew.
Yes, but that's good. That's
You
all
know,
they knew.
and there was never a debate. You never had a choice in our house
Yes.
of not being part.
Yes.
You never had a choice in our
That's
house.
just the way you lived it.
Yes, jump on them, beat them up, slap them. It was always a commitment in their life of being willing to die.